Well, I did it. I told you I was going to do it. I turbocharged my Road King. This is a 2008 Harley-Davidson CVO Road King. And if you look at it from the left side, it looks like a completely stock, normal motorcycle. But if you look at it from the right side, this is kind of the party side. This side's still kind of a party, but not as much of a party. And this is like the motorhead party, because we got a turbocharger on it. Now this is also one of the highest mileage CVO bikes I've ever seen, with 99,687 miles. I wish I drove it more than I actually do. And you're probably wondering, why would I do this? Why would I put a turbocharger on such a high mileage bike? Well, part of it was that, you know, sometimes you see a 40,000 mile Harley-Davidson and people are like, oh, it's got high miles. And that's just not true. You know, it's just like anything else. If you continue to maintain it, these bikes are not throwaway bikes, and you keep on rebuilding them, and there's parts available for them. This is still the same stock engine, stock cylinders and pistons and everything. Part of it was I wanted to prove that a 90 or 100,000 mile or 100,000 plus mile Harley-Davidson was not high mileage. And just to prove it, let's basically double the horsepower. We had this thing dynoed before the turbocharger at 77 horsepower and 98 foot-pounds of torque. And putting this turbocharger on it should get us closer to, you know, 120, 130 horsepower. I'm not really sure what the torque numbers are. Should be pretty high, you know, close to those same numbers. We will put on the dyno. We will figure out exactly what the actual horsepower is now that it's turbocharged, but you can definitely really feel it's a big difference. Now, like most motorsport and automotive enthusiasts, you always kind of want a little bit more power, or a lot of bit more power. I started poking around and asking some of my friends at the Harley-Davidson dealerships, I'm like, who is the company who builds the best turbocharged kit? And it wasn't even like some people said this, some people said this. Every single person I talked to said the same thing. You got to go with Trask Performance, T-R-A-S-K. Trask Performance, they make the best, bar none, turbocharged kit. So I called them up and ordered one. It came specifically tuned for my motorcycle. Their customer service was great, and the kit was the highest quality I mean, it was insanely good quality. I didn't expect it to be this good of quality. It was a Garrett turbo, and it came with every possible thing that you would need to put this thing on, like by yourself, excluding oil. You had to change oil because there's a new clutch plate and also a new side cover. It took about 7 or 8 hours. I figure it's going to take you about a weekend to put this thing all together. But the reason I decided to go with a turbo kit instead of, you know, something, the other options would be a supercharger kit, or just boring out the engine, you know, engine internal modifications, or a bigger motor like a 120R motor or like a 140 motor, something like that. The reason I decided to go with the turbocharged kit was, you know, because of mainly two things. One, I love the way I love the power band of a turbo in a vehicle. You know, it feels normal, and then you hear that turbo spool up, and then it starts to pull. Where the bike starts to pull, and the RPMs kind of stay the same. It's just a fun. If you've never ridden a turbocharged car, it is fun. Depending on how you tune it, it's not always the best way to get all the performance out of your vehicle, but it is a blast to drive. Well, the way we have this tuned, it's not like I'm not maxing out all the performance. It's just a lot of fun. The other reason is because I still wanted this bike to be very streetable. I wanted a normal person to be able to hop on and keep the RPM. If they wanted to keep the RPMs low, under like 3 or 4, that it still just feels like a normal Road King, a normal CVO Road King. And that's exactly what happens. It feels like a very streetable bike. Anyone can hop on this thing and ride it. It's not like instant torque, instant power, and it makes a really, really cool noise when you ride it. So let me explain to you guys a little bit how a turbo works. There's a couple different ways. This is called forced induction. A supercharger is the same way, but a supercharger runs off of, is spun by a belt, or in this case, a chain. Nitrous oxide is actually kind of very similar, where it sends nitrous is more oxygen molecules. So it sends it in the compression chamber, which allows you to send more air, which makes more power. So what a turbo does is it spools up off of the exhaust. The exhaust pipe is coming in right here. That spools up the turbo. That spools up this side of the turbo. That forces air through this intercooler, through the intake manifold, into the combustion chamber, makes more power. Now, of course, the bike has to be set up for that, so it's got bigger injectors. It also has a tuner that's programmed for the bigger injectors and for the turbo kit. And all that came in the kit. So if you guys want to know the real reason why I did this, let me show you. Now listen guys, I know exactly what you're thinking. You're thinking, but Sean, why would I spend all this money turbocharging my Harley-Davidson when I could just put a leaf blower on it from Home Depot for 400 bucks? Well, I tried that, and it doesn't work at all. I know what else you're thinking. You're thinking, Sean, why would I spend so much money turbocharging my bike when I could just go buy a newer bike, a newer Harley-Davidson? My answer for that is, this is still faster than any new Harley-Davidson. There's not a Road King, there's not a stock Road King out there on the planet that's gonna be faster than this. Let me just clarify now. This does not make this the fastest motorcycle out there. A GSX-R 600 will still take it, but this does make it a very fast Harley-Davidson. And I know what you're thinking, you're like, well, who cares? Hey, everything could be faster, and everything is more fun and better when it's faster. Case in point, I drive a fairly modified Power Stroke 15-passenger van, probably double the horsepower than a stock one. It's a lot more fun. It's like asking someone, hey, why did you just supercharge your Corvette? Why didn't you just buy, you know, a NASCAR? Well, that's not really a thing. And does it sound this good? Ha ha ha! Love this bike. The fact that it's not a black Street Glide makes this Harley a little more unique. The fact that it's a CVO also kind of takes it to a different level. Oh, it's a little more unique. Not everyone has a CVO. You're kind of in a more exclusive club. The fact that you got a big old Garrett turbo on it does a little bit more. Here we go. I love the way that sounds. Now, I did talk to the guys at Trask, and I said, hey, can you guys get me a louder blow-off valve? And they were like, well, no one's ever asked us that. We thought it was loud enough. I might try to get one custom made. I really want it to be like, although I have noticed the way this computer is a Thundermax, I think, that comes with the kit, the way this programmer is, it actually adjusts to your driving, and the more you ride it, the more you cycle it on and off, the better it'll continue running. And it does feel better than it did last time I rode it. If you wonder how many pounds of boost it's pushing out, that's like the barometric pounds that's sitting inside the intake manifold. That's what that's measuring. This thing's pulling around 9 pounds of boost, which is it's fairly decent. That's a decent amount of boost for you know, a stock internal Harley-Davidson. All right, guys, let's do the words of wisdom. Joel 2:12. Yet even now declares the Lord, return to me with all your heart, and with fasting, weeping, and mourning. Amen. Now, before I put the turbocharged kit on, I did have this thing, since it is a higher mileage bike, and I didn't want to put a turbocharger on a bike that, you know, had low compression or just not worth it or would not be able to handle it. I did take this to Harley-Davidson, and I said, I'm going to throw a turbo on this thing, make this thing ready. Now, it did have a little leak from the shifter shaft seal. The tires were getting a little bit old. Of course, I put Michelin's on it. I fixed all that stuff. They found some metal in the transmission because one of my transmission bearings went bad. They replaced all that stuff. They put new grips. They did a lot. I'm forgetting a lot of stuff. They did a lot of work to it. But all my internals were all good. It was just kind of maintenance that has been kind of should have been done earlier. Probably before my last trip, but now the bike runs better than, honestly, it's ever ran ever. Let's see how it does in 0 to 60. Now, I did a 0 to 60 in this earlier. Let's see if we can do it any better. There. I think I shifted too early. I don't think I had the shift in the third gear. Man, I'm really enjoying this. But what this allowed me to do was just kind of look at my old Road King and look at it in a new way. I'm excited to take this thing on a big trip. Hear that boost? Oh man. Guys, if you're looking to wake up your old bike, make your show bike a show stopping bike, or just just whatever. You're like, I need a turbo on my bike. You need that more power. If you want to drag race it, you know what I mean? I think turbo is an option. I think you guys should check out Trask Performance. The guys are super cool. I called, I forget what the guy's name was. I called him up. I actually made a mistake with the programming. I called him up and he's like, the computer that they sent us was actually set up for my bike. I didn't know that because I'm not good at like listening to people's instructions. They made it very clear and I was too excited about something. So I called him up like, oh yeah, I already put a new new program in it. And he's like, oh. But yeah, I could tell, I just like crushed him. But then he's like, I'll send you a new one, don't worry about it. It was so, you know what I mean? It was so nice. In like 2 minutes, I got a new code. I got the right code. I put it back in. It was all 100% my fault. But their customer service was top notch. It wasn't like I got like all these computers and you know, robots talking to me. It was really, really cool. It couldn't have been a better experience. Alright guys, that wraps up the test drive. You're going to see this bike in some more videos because it's my bike and I like riding it. And I plan on doing an iron butt challenge while hitting 100,000 miles. I'm pretty excited about that. Comment below. Tell me what you think about this thing. And we'll see you guys later. Guys, if we're actually shipping all the motorcycles on Srkcycles.com. We're actually doing free shipping right now. So check out the website, make sure we're still doing that. But as of right now, we are doing 100% free shipping anywhere in the country. Not Alaska. Not Alaska. All right, guys. See you guys later. Remember, it's not what you're riding, but where are you going?